The $100,000 salary is a trap. How America's success number quietly bankrupts you. Picture this. You open your banking app on a random Tuesday night. 6 months ago, you hit the number everyone told you to chase, $100,000 a year. Your parents were proud. You told your college roommate. You genuinely believed the anxiety was over. But the balance on your screen is lower than it was the year you made 60,000. Not a little lower, meaningfully lower. And you're sitting there in the dark, laptop glow on your face, asking yourself the most dangerous question in personal finance. Where did it go? You didn't buy a yacht. You didn't gamble it away. You just lived, and somehow living ate everything. What you're feeling isn't bad luck, and it isn't bad math on your part. It's a machine. A machine built out of tax brackets, benefit cliffs, and a culture engineered to make sure that the moment you earn more, something else quietly reaches into your pocket and takes it back. Stick with me, because by the end of this, you're going to understand exactly how the six-figure salary became the most convincing financial lie of your generation. Let's start with the number itself, because the number is lying to you before you've even spent a dollar of it. In 1995, six figures wasn't a salary. It was a lifestyle. It meant a house with a real yard, a country club membership, a kid's name on a private school wait list. That was rich money. Adjust that same purchasing power for inflation and land it in 2025, and you're not looking at $100,000 anymore. You're looking at something closer to $215,000. Flip it around, and the truth gets uglier. Earning $100,000 today buys you roughly what $48,000 bought a person in the Clinton administration. You have an executive's paycheck and a blockbuster clerk's buying power. And yet, here's the trap inside the trap. Your brain never got the memo. You still see six figures, and some primal part of you relaxes, spins like the danger has passed. It hasn't. You're reenacting a script written for a currency that doesn't exist anymore. Now here's where it gets darker, because inflation is just the opening act. The real theft happens inside the tax code, in a zone financial planners quietly call the middle-class donut hole. Think about who the system actually protects. If you're poor, there's subsidies, credits, assistance programs, a net underneath you. If you're wealthy, there are capital gains rates lower than income tax, depreciation write-offs, entire legal structures built to let fortunes grow untaxed for generations. But the middle? The middle gets nothing. You earn too much to qualify for help and nowhere near enough to access the tools the wealthy use to shelter money. You are, quite literally, the only income bracket paying full retail price for existence. Let's make this concrete, because abstract tax talk doesn't hit until you see it happen to an actual paycheck. Say you land a raise, 75,000 jumps to 100,000. On paper, that's 25,000 extra dollars, close to 2,000 a month, a mortgage payment's worth of breathing room. Except you never see most of it. First, the progressive bracket system doesn't just tax the new dollars. It taxes them at a steeper rate than the ones before them. Then a quieter blade falls. Cross roughly 80 to 90,000 in income, and you lose your ability to deduct student loan interest. Congress has decided, in effect, that you're now too successful to need that break. So your loan payment gets more expensive the exact moment your raise hits your account. And if you have kids, the cruelest cliff of all is waiting. Many childcare subsidies and preschool aid programs phase out sharply once you cross certain income lines. Families have reported losing access to subsidized care worth $10, $12, even $15,000 a year, all triggered by a raise worth a fraction of that. Run the arithmetic, and you get something almost nobody warns you about. It is mathematically possible to work harder, earn more, and end the year with less. The treadmill doesn't just resist you. The faster you run, the steeper it tilts. And this is where the psychological trap locks into place, because money problems were never only about money. They're about identity. The moment you cross into six figures, an invisible dress code activates. You can't be the director driving a 12-year-old Honda. You need the SUV lease, the house in the right school district, the wardrobe that photographs like success. Marketers know this better than you do. They've already written you off as a target when you're broke, because broke people can't buy. They've given up on the wealthy too, because the wealthy are often frugal and impossible to impress with status objects. But the middle class? You're insecure enough to prove yourselves and flush enough to finance the proof. You are, from an advertiser's perspective, the perfect customer, anxious, aspirational, and one credit approval away from a decision you'll regret. Watch how this actually plays out across two lives. A woman earning $60,000 a year knows exactly where she stands. She rents something modest, drives a paid-off used car, cooks most of her meals because eating out isn't an option, and at the end of the month, she might actually bank $500. Now, take a man earning $120,000. A bank takes one look at that number and pre-approves him for a $600,000 house. Nobody mentions the invisible tax that comes bundled with that mortgage. The HOA fees, the landscaping, the furniture needed to fill rooms that used to be empty space, the roof that will eventually need replacing. He leases 2 cars because a household at his level needs reliability and image. The kids go into travel, soccer, and private piano lessons because that's simply what parents at this income do. By the time the month closes, the $60,000 earner has a surplus and the $120,000 earner is often running a deficit, quietly financing groceries on a credit card. Same country, same year, wildly different solvency. And the higher earner is, financially speaking, the one in the more fragile position. There's a tax nobody puts on a pay stub, and it might be the cruelest one, the time tax. $40,000 a year, shift work money, usually comes with a hard stop. You clock out, and your evening is actually yours. $100,000 in the modern knowledge economy rarely works that way. Your phone buzzes at 8 at night. Your brain stays leased to your employer long after your body left the building. And exhausted, depleted people don't cook. They order $60 of delivery for a meal that costs 10 to make. They don't clean, they pay someone else to. They numb out on 5 different streaming subscriptions because collapsing on the couch is the only thing that still feels like relief. A frightening share of that 6-figure income isn't funding a better life. It's funding the recovery from the job that pays for the life. You're, in a very real sense, spending money to survive the process of earning money. And that's how the golden handcuffs get fastened. Once the mortgage, the leases, and the tuition are locked in around salary, quitting stops being a choice. It becomes a threat to your own survival. The person with low expenses can walk away from a toxic job tomorrow and land on their feet. The person who built a 6-figure lifestyle around a 6-figure paycheck cannot. They stay through the burnout. They stay through the bad boss. They stay through the layoff rumors because they no longer work for a company. They work for their own overhead. This is the quiet secret behind so many people who look flawless online, tropical vacations, a driveway full of new cars, and are privately drowning, medicated, and maxed out. They mistook income for wealth. But income is only ever the speed you're moving. Wealth is the distance you actually cover. Sprint at full speed on a treadmill, and you generate an impressive amount of sweat and exactly 0 forward motion. So how do you actually get off the machine? It starts with detaching your ego from your paycheck, because the entire system is engineered to convert your self-worth into someone else's revenue the second you let it. If your income doubles and your spending doesn't, that gap between the two numbers isn't boring frugality. It's your exit. Keep the smaller apartment. Keep the car until it genuinely dies. When the raise lands, don't celebrate it publicly. Automate it straight into an investment account before your lifestyle even notices it existed. Money you never see is money you can't accidentally spend. This is the entire logic behind stealth wealth. Appearing unremarkable while quietly becoming unshakable. Because the real flex was never the SUV in the driveway or the new phone every September. The real flex is being able to lose your job on a Friday and sleep fine on Saturday. It's telling a toxic boss no and meaning it because your rent doesn't depend on his mood. It's optionality, the one thing status purchases can never buy you back. $100,000 was never the finish line. In 2025, it's closer to the starting gun, and the only way to actually win the race is to stop running the one everybody else signed you up for.